Hello, everybody. It is Lindsay House and Robin Sachs, two coaches on a mission. Hello again. And our mission is to help you thrive in 2022 and make this your best year ever. So whether you've joined us before, whether this is the first time you're coming across us and going, who are these checks? Either way, we are walking through the alphabet, A through Z, letter by letter, and talking about words and concepts that will help you either take what you're doing well and make it even better, or give you some thoughts and ideas that might help jumpstart something that might help you go, I never thought about it that way before. And that's basically what we're doing. Hi, Lindsay.
Yes. Hi, Robin. So good to see you.
You as well, as always. All right. Looking forward to another really awesome conversation. So we are on R this week, and R was kind of easy. Some of these letters have been a little more challenging.
Yeah, we keep saying that, but then we're always like, well, actually.
Right, we have 30 of them and we only have like a half hour. So, so why don't we jump into our R's?
Okay.
Anything you want to start with?
I know. I really want to bounce this back and forth, and I can't decide if I should start it or you should, but resilience. It's kind of funny. I feel like the word resilience, I know everyone has understood this importance of this word in the past, but for some reason, for me and for my community, like it's making the most sense that it ever has before. And I kind of just wanted to read off the definition for a minute. But being resilient or having resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. And I think it's really important. I'm going to let you go with your visuals, but why this like clicked in my brain is because it's never too, like if we go fitness and nutrition for a minute, people always use the term falling off the wagon. Like I was doing well on this diet and then I fell off the wagon. I was going to the gym for the last 6 months and then I fell off the wagon. And when we think about the term resilience, there's no longer this falling off of, or it's gone. It's the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, because life is going to constantly throw us difficulties. We're going to have something that throws us off from making it an easy thing to get to the gym, or something that throws us off from making it an easy thing to eat healthy. Call it crazy weather storms. Anyone who just lived through the hurricanes going through Florida, that would be enough to kick somebody off of a good habit, a good stressing for a family member, living through the hurricane, going through a death in the family, going through even exciting things or vacation. I could rattle these off all day, but the bottom line is I feel like people feel like when they're done, it's over. And what if instead of fighting for perfection, what if we fought for resilience, to be able to have the capacity to recover quickly from any difficulties that came our way? That's where I wanted to start. And now I feel like I'm going to shove it back your way, Robin, because you're going to bring on some beautiful visuals, and I'll probably be able to talk after you're done.
Yeah, I love what you just said, Lindsay, is that idea that we have experiences and they stop, and then we have another one and then it stops, right? And this idea of resilience, oftentimes life tends to pull us way over here or way over here. And what resilience is about is getting pulled like this, as opposed to being pulled like this. And, anytime I do a workshop or a talk or a keynote on this, I always bring a rubber band ball to illustrate this. And I'll throw it out into the crowd and tell everybody, take a rubber band off. And then here's what we do is this rubber band now represents our life. And what happens is we all have the same rubber band. But what happens is life happens and it starts to stretch us a little, and then stretch us a little more and stretch us a little more. And what happens is we get to a point sometimes where it feels like we're going to snap, or it pulls us enough that we literally do snap. Yeah. And what resilience is about is, as life pulls you like this, which it will, your expectation should always be life is going to be challenging and pull you in different places sometimes. Don't ever expect everything to be perfect. Horrible expectation, by the way. Wonderful expectation is stuff's going to happen. Stuff's going to hit the fan. If that's my expectation, resilience becomes more simple. Resilience becomes more doable, because if my expectation I'm getting pulled here, when it happens, it doesn't throw me as much as it would if I expected it to be perfect.
Mhm.
So my expectation is this is going to happen. And what resilience is all about is when this happens, because it will, what can I do to bring it back in here? Because resilience is about being able to stretch and come back, not just stretch and get stuck or snap. So when you think about it, it's really, I'll use another R here. Resilience to me is all about rebounding. It's about coming out here and being able to come back. So
Yeah.
going to where life pulls you, I don't want to say isn't the challenge, because it's challenging things that pull us there. But the idea is, when life pulls me, how do I rebound? And I don't need to be perfect again. If I'm
Mhm.
here and I rebound to here, that's phenomenal. This is much less stressful, anxiety inducing, overwhelming than this was. I don't always have to get back to this. So, we can talk about a couple of tools, to how to rebound. And one of the simplest ones, and I'm going to say simple because it's simple, but we don't always apply it, is just taking a couple of deep breaths.
Yeah.
Again, when life is pulling us, when someone else is really stretched like this, what do we tell them to do? Hey, take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, now let's talk about what's going on. Why do we tell them to breathe? Because I'm going to use this wonderful term from a great colleague of mine, Leslie Dixon from Voice Pro in Cleveland, Ohio. Oxygen is nature's greatest tranquilizer. It
Mm.
is free. It is everywhere. And so when we say take a couple of deep breaths, the first thing that your brain and body get to do is do this instantly. And when I'm here, I can think more clearly. I can make a decision more clearly. I can simply have a conversation more clearly than when I'm out here. So we give other people that wonderful advice. First and foremost, use it early, use it often. Remind yourself to sit back and take a breath or two. And remind yourself that oxygen is nature's greatest tranquilizer. It will help you rebound, which, when that happens, will allow you to be in a place where you are more resilient. And when you're resilient, when you're relaxed, another R, right? Everything can be done better when you're in that space. So that's where I go with resilience.
I love that. I feel like I'm going to be carrying around rubber bands with me
Right.
because
And you
I
can snap them at people who disturb your peace sometimes too, right?
yes. I mean, I'm picturing like literally having this conversation with my daughters tonight, just because I think that it's a skill set that if we all could visualize that, like that the expectation of we're stretched, we come back. Because I think at any phase of life, whether it's like we're living through some sports hardships at the moment right now, but like, and you and I could be living through entrepreneurial hardships or whatever and wherever you are in your season of life, that hopefully we're getting stretched is one of my hopes. It's uncomfortable, but I think, as human beings, that's where we shine too. We stretch, we grow, and then we get to keep doing that because we get to keep learning. We get to keep becoming wiser and growing into. I just had a podcast guest the other day mention how actually getting old, is such, we should all be grateful. It's really a gift. And that we become, if we can, again, expectation wise, look at it as a gift, and we become wiser every year because we've been doing all that stretching. I don't know. It's just like, man, if we talked over our youth like that, that this is a beautiful thing. And this is not a hardship. Like it would be amazing setting expectations differently. All right. I do have to go into the psychological resilience because there's actually not a different definition, but a separate definition when it comes to psychological resilience. And it was the ability to cope mentally or emotionally with a crisis or return to pre-crisis status quickly. And here's that word again, quickly. And I think that's maybe what I want to highlight as Robin and I are kind of wrapping up on resilience. But again, the expectation that we're going to be stretched, but the resilience part, the part that we can work on, the part that Robin and I could actually give you homework on is how to get back more quickly. Because what happens with this, if we go through crisis, if we go through the hardship, I'll even take us back to that initial example of I had a really good health routine going and I fell off. When we're in the beginning of this process, We typically, it might take us a month to regather all of that energy and go, okay, now I'm ready to start over, try this again. And then we keep coming at it. And then we notice, you know what? It only took me a week this last time to like build back up to wanting to try and try again. And then the more we practice, maybe it only takes us a day. Maybe we fall off what we call the wagon for the day. And by the next morning, we've already hit the reset button and we're ready to give everything a full go again. So highlighting the word quickly, whether that's something mentally that we're trying to get over or physically, we can practice resilience. And what happens is with everything else, slow and steady wins the race. The more we practice it, we're all of a sudden going to wake up one day and go, that's different for me. It might have taken me 6 months. It might have taken me till New Year's to build motivation to start again. And this time I'm back on and it's just tomorrow. So it's worth fighting for.
Yeah. And a reminder with that, a little footnote, the time's going to pass anyway. So who cares how long it takes you? At some point, would you love to be exactly where you want to be? There's only one way to get there. There are no hacks. There are no shortcuts. There is one way. Get up and do it, and then get up tomorrow and do it again, and get up next week and do it again, and get up every day and do it again. And if you, to Lindsay, to your point, if you miss a day, no big deal. Get up the next day and start it again. The idea is a day here, a day there is life. Don't let life get in the way of your dreams. My goodness. If you need a day, take a day. If you need a couple of days, take a couple of days. But once you hit 3 days, 4 days where you're not doing it, now you've fallen off. And the idea is you don't have to wait for motivation. You don't have to wait to get inspired. You just need to get up and do it again and start again. Just keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I really like that one. I think that we need to throw this over to you because I would love to see where you go with this. The rest or respite or reprieve or recline, relaxation, all of those words. What does that bring up for you, Robin?
When we talk about rest, relaxation, reprieve, all of those things, I am so tired of hearing about the hustle, hustle, hustle. You have got to be kidding me. If you know anything at all, like 101 about how human beings work, how your brain works, how your body works, you know rest is just as important as the hustle. And if all you're doing is the hustle, whatever that looks like to you, you are not going to be doing your best. You are not going to get where you want faster. You are not going to be able to sustain any of it. The only time your body and your brain give themselves what they need and are able to recover a bit is in that rest period. And so, you can go and read as many things on personal improvement, personal development, professional development as you want. The ones that remind you to get a good night's sleep and listen to your body and rest when you need to. When your body's telling you it needs to recover, it needs to recover. End of discussion. Those are the ones to keep reading because they get it. This isn't an opinion. This is just fact. It's how your brain and body work. And if I had $1 for everyone I know who's ever said, I can get 3 hours of sleep and I'm spot on, you are so full of it. And I can point things out that you do that you say, hey, this is where you could improve if you'd like, but it's your choice. No judgment, just awareness. So do not ever embrace I don't sleep. I don't need more sleep. I'm on 24/7. Please don't ever embrace that. That is so counterintuitive to what you think you're bringing to the table that it's mind-boggling sometimes. That rest is probably the greatest thing you can do for your productivity, for your presence at any given moment, being able to be in the moment, make choices, make decisions, lead, any of those things that at a high level you might be wanting to do or get to. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I see all the time when rest is taken away, either by choice or by I'm just getting run into the ground by someone else, because sometimes we make the choice, sometimes other people start to make that choice for us, and we really have to be aware of that, that it impacts you negatively at some point. The thing you need to do is know that it's just as important as everything else you're up and doing. And the reality is, when you bring rest into the mix, the stuff that you could do really well in 3 hours, you can do really well in an hour. That's what rest brings to the table. So I could go on about this for a long time. I am going to throw it over to you, Lindsay, to see where you're going to take this. I am very
I'm sure.
passionate about that, as you can probably tell.
Yeah, I do feel like it all starts, as much as we hear about sleep, even that sleep's the first ripple into every other healthy behavior we're going to do throughout the day. But I'm sure you use this. We're human beings, we're not human doers. And a lot of us thrive on that human doing. And I just want to take everybody back to think about even like the prairie days, right? Where you've got farmers, you've got people who are literally like churning their own butter to be able to get dinner on the table, gathering their own eggs. And they still all took a Sunday of rest. And they were still able to get everything they needed done for the rest of the day. Because I think a lot of times we get in our brains, like if I sit for a minute, if I stop for a minute, then my whole world's going to fall apart. Like I gotta go. And to Robin's point, the cool part about rest is that you'll find things functioning so much better that you might actually open up time. Your world might piece together a little bit better. So just whether you need to carve out the rest time or it's maybe already carved out for you. I think I was one of the few moms who I loved Carline, and I'm sadly not doing it this year, but last year it was this pocket of time carved out for me. I had no choice, but I had to rest for that 30, 40 minutes every day. I shut down at 2 and kids got in the car at 2:40, and it was reading time, it was email time, and I'm missing it this year. Now I have to carve it out. Now it's on me. So if rest is hard for you, I think that it's easiest to find it by accident. Maybe it's a sporting event. Maybe you're sitting in your car while your kids, or maybe you're walking, wherever you want to find that like mental and physical reprieve, but you've got to find it. And if that's your takeaway from today, find your pocket of rest time, then our work is done.
And I love that, because when you stop and pay attention, and here's something to think about, really take a day or two and just pay attention to your time. And you'll be amazed at how often you have a pocket of time, but you pick this up and we fill it and we fill it and we fill it and we fill it.
Yes.
Be intentional instead of passive with those pockets of time.
Yeah.
To Lindsay's point. And it doesn't have to be big pockets, because I understand it's hard sometimes to go, I don't have a half hour or an hour where I can just stop and do things. Here's the thing, you don't need to. Do you have 2 minutes? Put that in your calendar, right? Your meeting ended 5 minutes early. Don't jump into something else. Give yourself permission to get up, walk outside, walk around the building once and come back in. Give yourself permission to sit on the couch if you're working at home and read that article that's been sitting there for 4 months because you haven't had time to read it, right? Set things up that you want to do or know you would like to do more of that take very little time. And know that every time you've got 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes of time, you can go do one of those things.
Right.
If you're scheduling a meeting with someone, I did this morning, and my colleague loved this and was so understanding. I'm like, hey, I got something at 10. We were meeting at 9. We usually meet for an hour. I said, we're going to end the meeting at 9:50 today. And she's like, love it. And at 9:49, we were off the call. And the idea was, you're allowed to not have to build things in back to back to back to back to back to back to back. You can build in tiny pockets of time and just be very clear in your communication. People are fine with things because that gives them a gift of time too that they didn't have before. It also gets you into things a lot quicker when you've got less time that you're spending on something that, well, we've always had an hour for a meeting. Well, today we're going to do 45 minutes. You realize how quickly you get into things and how quickly you get things done, and that you never needed an hour to begin with. You always needed a half hour to 45 minutes. You can find more time the more you're paying attention to looking for that and really being honest with yourself about where you can rest in the day.
You're always so good at throwing out tools, Robin. So I feel like I'm going to throw out a quick one. And you preempted the meeting ending early with just verbal expectations. Like, I'm going to end the meeting at 9:50. For anybody who that makes really uncomfortable, when the time comes, because this is where sometimes I get into this. Somebody's like spilling their life story or their like soul to me, and it's really hard to be like, "Burp, all right, time to go." Yeah, like, so something that's helped. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the backing out the door and shutting the door. Like, sorry. Having an auditory thing go off is really helpful. A timer, so that the timer dings and disrupts the conversation or the moment, and you don't have to take on that personal responsibility. So it's something that auditory, we hear it, we know it's time to wrap up, and then whatever and wherever you were, you can start to wrap that up. So if that helps anybody, both verbal and auditory is really helpful.
That's a great addition to that. Everyone mark that down, because what a wonderful thing. It's like the music starts playing at the awards show, right? It's like,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
somebody else's turn. Get off the stage. Another thing that you can do with that, just to throw another tool in the toolbox, because that's a great one. Always, when it comes to time, if you're communicating things where you need to get out or want to leave, or something's supposed to end and it's not, always verbalize it so that it's about them, not about you. Because a lot of times what we tend to do is, I really have to go. I'm so sorry. I have to get to something. I.
Yeah.
If you start speaking in a way where it's always about them, and you say things like, you know what? Oh my goodness, I can't wait to continue this conversation, but I want to respect your time this morning, because I know we said we were going to be done at this time. I want to respect your time. Let's go ahead and get that next time on the calendar.
Yeah.
Right. Or can we continue this the next time? Make it about them, and people will respect your time like you will not believe. Because when it's about me, I'm more apt to do something, right? When it's about you, I don't get the urgency, because I don't have the urgency. So it's a great effective communication tool. Talk to people about, I want to respect your time, so let's get started. I want to respect your time, so let's go ahead and end this and continue it, because I'm excited to hear what happened.
Yes.
Make it about them, and they will be with you.
100%. Yes. And you're not apologizing your way out the door. Like,
Right.
don't apologize. That is,
No.
yes.
Awesome. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay. We're going to flip
What do you?
this. And I feel like it's going to take it totally off topic, but rapport, I feel like really needed to come into ours today. And you're going to go a different direction with your mindset coaching and confidence, I'm guessing, with this. Rapport for me, I just want to give some quick permission. I can't tell you how many people I have talked to in the past who don't have rapport with their personal trainer, or don't have rapport with their dietitian, or don't have rapport with their physician or gynecologist or therapist. Like, the people who are supporting you, you should have a relationship with. Okay. This doesn't mean that you're BFFs. You don't need to be best friends with these people. Sometimes it's better not to be. We just need but we need a healthy relationship, a working relationship. So, my one big thing is permission today. If you are in some form of relationship, especially if you are paying this person, that don't really feel like you're clicking, you need to set your time frame of when you're going to exit that scene. So if it's a therapist, you're going to finish up your last session and you're going to have your next therapist lined up and ready to try. If it's a personal trainer, finish your last training session and tell them, I'm looking for a little more specific of this, and I'm going to try out this trainer. Like, no personal. There's ways to do this too with wording that both Robin and I could help you out a lot with, but you should never, ever be sitting. I don't care if it's a hairdresser. Like, you should have rapport with the people that you surround yourself with. Tossing it over to you, Robin, there.
I love what you just said, Lindsay, because we can pick to surround ourselves with anyone we want. And isn't it interesting how often we choose to pick people who don't give us that good feeling or that support or what we need? And then we feel badly about saying no to them or not liking them. And then we question ourselves, is there something that I'm doing? Oh my goodness. Just pay attention and listen to your body and your brain and your gut and all of those things, and stop questioning and second guessing and doubting yourself. Are you getting what you need? Yes or no? Yes. Then stay there. Are you getting what you need? No. Then go find something that gives you what you need. Those are the two questions to ask and answer at any given time, and do not feel badly about them. There's no reason to. Go get what you need or stop complaining that you don't have what you need is always what I'll very directly and compassionately tell people sometimes,
Totally.
where it's,
Yes.
I don't want to keep hearing about your problem if you're creating the problem, or you can fix the problem. We
Mm.
already have the solution. What's
Yes.
getting in the way? And let's figure that out so you can get over that hump and not having to deal with the problem anymore. If you're not getting what you need, go get what you need. That's,
Yeah.
give yourself permission to do that. And again, if you need somebody to give you some wording or pushing or a mindset shift on how to do that,
Mhm.
Lindsay and I both can help with that. So feel free, reach out if that's something of interest or that you would like help with.
Yeah, I mean, I can see somebody, Robin, already sitting back going, you two seem so confident in that, but that would like, I'm melting even thinking about exiting from my trainer or exiting from my physician, like the guilt, the I feel bads, I like, how do you talk around all of those feelings when it is so not in someone's wheelhouse to like back out the door politely?
Yeah. And you know what? I'll give you a real high level answer to that because it's a tool for the toolbox.
Yeah.
Um, is so I love something that I use with clients all the time that I call the vent clock. And what the vent clock is if there's something that you're emoting about, because if you notice, Lindsay, what you were talking about is all those feelings, right? I'm going to feel guilty. I feel bad. I feel, right?
Hmm.
Now, all of those feelings are real. We don't want to negate feelings as long as they're valid and they're there for a legit reason.
Yeah.
You need to feel those. But here's the thing, feelings should never make your decisions. Logic should make your decisions, and what you need can make the decisions. But the feelings are important. But the feelings are often why we don't do things, not the
Yeah.
logic. And so your vent clock is simply grab your phone, put the stopwatch on, and I would say 2 minutes is a great vent clock. Set your timer for 2 minutes, hit it, and I want you to feel everything. Oh my goodness, I would feel so horrible. I'd feel guilty. I'd feel bad. What would they think? And blah, blah, blah. And talk it, get everything out. Give yourself permission to get all the feels out. Vent it out. What you'll find is, one, it's really hard to fill 2 minutes, which is a self-awareness in and of itself. I've been talking for 3 months about this, but after 30 seconds, I got nothing else to say. I'm out. That's a great
Hmm.
self-awareness right there. But once you vented that all out, now I got that out of my system for a moment. I'm going to put that to the side. Now I'm going to say, now, a friend just came to me and said, I'm not getting what I need with my trainer, with my therapist, with my partner, with my whatever it is in your
Mhm.
endeavor, right? Now you're talking to a friend and they're asking you, what should I do? Now the feeling is out of it. Now we're to logic. What would you tell a friend to do? Oh my goodness, if you're not getting what you need to go find what you need. And you're going to give them advice that is very logic based, not emotion based.
Yeah.
At that point, what you can do is go, okay, the emotion's valid. And I got that out so that I could see the logic.
Yeah.
If I would tell someone else what to do without question, that's now what I need to go do. And the words that you can use absolutely will come out during that. What would you tell someone else to do? You know, you're not getting what you need. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. You're wasting the ability to get to your solution or get to the thing that you need right now so that you can move on or improve or whatever it is. You don't want to do that. You can now take those words in and say, hey, I've really appreciated our time together. Thank you so much. I think I've reached a level where I do need something different or more. I need a new perspective. So I so appreciate where you've gotten me.
Yeah.
It's time for me to now go ahead and after this session, I'm going to go ahead and go on so that I can add that to my repertoire. So I can add that to my improvement. So I can get that perspective. You can very positively say, thank you for what you've given me. You've gotten me here. Now it's time to get me there. And that's going to be someone else. Right. And if you
Yeah.
think about that with every aspect of your life, your first grade teacher wasn't your fifth grade teacher, and your fifth grade teacher wasn't your high school teacher. There are reasons for that, right? So everyone gets you to a certain point so you can be handed off and get to the
Mhm.
next point and hand it off to get to the next point. Take that through life. That is
Yeah.
everything you will ever improve on, learn about, excel with, get to the next step with. You're going to get handed off. You're not going to stay with the same people. And that's okay. That's part of growth. So give yourself permission to think about those things. Um, and again, make it about them. Thank you for where you've gotten me.
Right.
I'm ready to get to the next step. And I think that might be over here. So I'm going to go explore that.
I love that. Thank you. Yes. Robin, I feel like we were talking about something before we hit record, and it was like putting an emotion with, and maybe it was back to resilience, and that you can't have one without the other, that they kind of seesawed with each other. And if your brain's not going with where I'm going, we might have even already talked about it.
All right. If it pops back up, I'm not.
That's fine. We'll bring it on to the next session.
But I do
So,
want to sit back with rapport for a second and kind of a
yes.
different perspective. But yeah, Lindsay, if that pops up, pop
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Because it must have been something kind of good.
I know. I was like, oh, I feel like this was good.
The one thing I'll just take in a quick different direction with rapport is I work a lot with stress management, right? And this idea that stress and confidence kind of are this seesaw, right? And if you have stress,
this is it, Robin. It was
awesome.
rapport.
Oh, cool. So, stress and confidence are on this seesaw. And when your stress goes up, your confidence naturally comes down. When your confidence goes up, your stress naturally comes down. So a lot of times we focus on this stress management piece when we could forget about that and just learn how to build confidence, and it accomplishes the same goal. The reason, I bring that up with rapport is stress is probably the biggest inhibitor to rapport. If I come into something and I am stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, fearful, whatever that emotion is, because emotion is an energy, and your energy comes into the room before you do. Your energy, the moment you you don't even have to open your mouth. And I can feel the energy, right? Think about how powerful your emotional energy is. The second you walk in a room, get onto a call, you're standing in line behind someone, you can feel that energy. And you can see by body language, by facial expression, by vocal tone when someone starts talking. We don't always realize how much of our emotion is coming out in every single thing we're doing and what people are hearing and what they're seeing. And that's why there's so much miscommunication. Usually miscommunication isn't about what is said, it's about how it's being said. There are things that get in the way where I hear your message differently than you thought you delivered it. But the reason that's important to understand is if I come into any kind of engagement, conversation of any kind, any interaction, and I am bringing in negative or stressful or anxious or overwhelmed or fearful vibes, what's happening is I've put a wall between you and me instantly. Mm-hmm. I have created a lack of rapport because it's hard when those things come into the room with you. It's hard for people to engage. It's hard for people to pull into you. Often that's a push away from people. So the more we can, again, work on bringing that stress down and or bringing the confidence up, what happens is you'll notice that you have more rapport in every interaction. People are pulled more towards you as opposed to pushed more away from you. They feel more engaged as opposed to you feel like they're a little distant or they're just not with you, right? So they're paying attention versus checking their email, right? Or something like that. Those are all rapport things, right? It's not just that other people have no attention span or other people get distracted. Sometimes it's that what can I do to regain your attention or pull you in a little more, engage you? That has a ton to do with rapport. And rapport is often really based in what's the energy I'm bringing to you, right? Am I pulling you or pushing you? And so really think about rapport as not just something you have or not have sometimes with people. Are there ways for you to increase rapport in places you want to? Right? If something's toxic or you don't need to gain rapport, please don't waste your time and energy there.
Right.
But if there are people or situations you want to bring a different rapport in or get more rapport. Wow. A great way to do it is really to kind of manage your own energy and be self-aware. Am I pushing or pulling right now with what I'm
Mhm.
bringing into the room, the interaction?
Yes. Ah, nailed it. Thank you.
Mhm.
You always know. Yes. Robin, another R for you today. And love our rapport. I'm so blessed that I met you so long ago now. But
I am
yes.
so thrilled our paths have crossed, Lindsay.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And so if you would like more Robin in your life, where should they come find you?
You can go to LinkedIn, follow me, connect with me, reach out. You can learn how to work with me or just follow me and get some great tools and tips. I am there most days. Also, my website, robinjsachs.com. A lot of free articles I've written, a lot of free videos. Also, how to hire me for speaking, workshops, or coaching and consulting. Lindsay, where can we find Lindsay if we want more Lindsay in our life?
All right, a little healthaccountabilitycoach.com. That's all one word. And all of my podcasts are held there, as well as just some free resources for you. If you've been looking for that meal planning worksheet or some recipe ideas, all of it is held on my website. And Direction, Not Perfection is the podcast. So, and then Robin and I will move on to letter S in the near future. So if you're enjoying these, take them, do the homework, put it to use, and then come join us again.
Awesome. And feel free, knowing S is coming up or any letters in the future, if you want, if you have thoughts or things that you do want us to talk about, we will be happy to expand upon those as, again, two coaches looking to just help you out and fill your toolbox up a bit. So feel free to let us know. And until next time,
Yep.
au revoir. So sorry for
Couldn't
that
help
one.
it.
Bye, Lindsay.
Bye, Robin.